Welcome to the Albuquerque Journal's premier high school sports show, Prep Central, with your host, James Yodice. This show is presented by Western New Mexico University.
Hi, everyone. I'm James Yodice. I am the high school sports editor at the Albuquerque Journal. Welcome to Prep Central, a special edition of Prep Central, our high school sports podcast. We are joined in studio today. I'll just get right to it. We have a special guest, someone I've been hoping to get in the entire school year, and it finally has worked out. We are joined by Gianna Rahmer, who is about to be a freshman at El Dorado High School. I feel like this is the last time I'll be able to refer to you as the former 8th grader from Hoover Middle School. Gianna, of course, just burst onto the scene this year in cross country. She won all her races, including the state meet, in dominating fashion, and then she went out and broke three state records at the track and field meet last month in the distances, the 800, the 1600, the 3200, and helped El Dorado to win a co-state championship with Rio Rancho. So Gianna is in studio because I have named her the Journal's Female Prep Athlete of the Year for 2023-24. She is by far the youngest athlete we have ever recognized for this award. I was having a conversation with your dad that you were in on when I told you the decision, and I'll say this for the benefit of the people who are watching who haven't heard this. The thing was there was no other logical candidate for us this year. Gianna went out and performed spectacularly well on the cross country courses in the fall, and then again on the track in the spring. She was brilliant, straight down the line for 9 straight months. So it was an easy call, and we're proud to name you as our Female Prep Athlete of the Year, and we welcome you to our studio. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So we're gonna kind of free range here and hit a bunch of topics. I think I'd want to start by asking you, could you ever have expected all the success you had as an 8th grader? Now, and I should preface this by saying APS just recently, about 2 or 3 years ago, made it possible for 8th graders to compete at the varsity level if they were talented enough. This goes for every sport, not just the running sports that Gianna is in. But I mean, does it surprise you at all the success you had straight through from that first race where I first saw you at Cleveland, the first cross country race of the year back in, was it late August, I think, to the state track meet just a few weeks ago? Does it surprise you at all what you were able to accomplish?
I was definitely very surprised. Since I was running for USATF for all my junior years, and I was winning the races in state for that, I was surprised that I was winning all of the ones for the high school too, especially in Cleveland when it was down to the last sprint of the last little bit of the race. And there were a lot of good runners at this race, as there were at most of the competitions you were at. Yeah.
When you hit the starting line that day at Cleveland, did you have any particular goals for yourself, either for that race or maybe even for the whole season, about what you thought you might be able to accomplish?
I guess my goal was to come top 5, top 10, but definitely not to win.
You said to me, probably half a dozen times, I think I interviewed you, where you said to me, I'm really surprised at how well I did. Was there ever a point where you stopped being surprised at how well you were doing?
I guess during track, definitely cross country is my stronger suit. So I started feeling more and more confident during the cross country races, but then I definitely did not think I was going to win state by 2 minutes. But then when track came, I started to feel a little bit better, especially in the 32 and the 1600.
So it took you a while maybe to felt like you belonged. I might be in the 8th grade, but I clearly belong with these older girls.
Yeah, sometimes when I won, it felt just luck and that the fastest people weren't there maybe or something, but I definitely started to gain a little bit more confidence.
So you and I did an interview a couple of days ago. It is now Thursday, June 6th, as we sit down and do this podcast. You told me a couple of days ago, and maybe you had told me before and I just didn't remember. You said, and you just said it just now, you thought of yourself more as a cross-country runner than a track runner. Can you explain that?
Well, I've been doing cross-country since I was 7 years old, and I probably started doing track when I was 10. So 3 years after I started doing cross-country, I started doing track. And cross-country is just so much more fun than track. There's more hills, and I like the hills.
One of the things I wanted to ask, and I'm always fascinated by runners, any male runners, female runners, whatever their age group is, especially on the track. How does how does an athlete, a runner, stay focused? You're running the 32, which is 8 boring laps around the track. But, I mean, look, there's strategy to it. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it that those of us who don't run don't know about. But how do you stay focused and centered, whether it's on the track for a 2-mile or even during a cross-country race where, you're out there and you're running by yourself, out in front of the pack? How do you, for you individually, how do you stay focused?
It's definitely harder to stay focused when there's not like a bunch of people behind me that are like still pushing me. But I guess I stay focused by like hearing people cheer for me on the side. That helps me stay focused, remember that I'm still in a race and still running. But also just like relaxing helps me focus, I guess. I know that I'm running and I have nothing really to worry about, so I just need to focus on the next step and the next step.
So is that part of the, the mental exercise that runners have to learn when you're competing? Like I said, whether it's in cross country or in track, is that part of the process that all runners have to learn?
Definitely. It's super hard when you get all nervous before races and like you think this or that is going to happen. It's definitely hard to stay relaxed. But I think for me personally, I run much better when I stay relaxed and just think about it as a run, not as like the last thing I'm ever going to do in my life.
Right.
So I think staying relaxed and calm is definitely very important.
The other day when we were speaking, you had mentioned to me briefly that you sometimes still get nervous when you step up to the line. Not so much once the race, when the gun goes off, you find yourself, okay, I'm getting into the race, whatever it is. But you said you still found yourself occasionally feeling, I don't know if it's butterflies or anxiety or what. What exactly? Can you describe that? And do you think that's a good sign? Like that means I'm ready to compete?
Yeah, definitely. I get butterflies in my stomach before most races. But I think that if you get nervous, it means that you care more because you care enough that if you do bad, you're going to be upset or whatever. So I think getting nervous is a good thing, and it also helps with like adrenaline, getting me ready to race and getting excited.
I suppose athletes are always saying, when I've got those types of nerves or just that eagerness to compete, they know they're ready. And if you don't have that, then you're not ready.
Yeah, I think, again, going back to the adrenaline, it's something that like helps me get to the line and get excited and get ready to race and helps me run faster.
So something all of us have observed who have watched you run, at least at the high school level, you run with a lot of joy. And you have said many times, look, you love to run, but you run with a lot of joy. Why is that, and what is it about running specifically that brings you that type of joy or pleasure when you're competing?
Well, I love the people that I meet and the places I go when I'm running cross country and track. I've said this before, but some of my best friends that I'm ever going to meet are through running, whether that be through my club team, AAT, or through El Dorado. But I also just love the feeling of running. Like, this is going to sound cheesy, but I feel really free when I'm running. Like, that's when I have the most confidence, is when I'm out on the cross country course or out on the track. And it's just so much fun. And yeah.
Hey, does it work that way even when you're just putting in miles during the week before a competition?
Definitely. I've always, cross country and track is always, I'm a shy person at school, I think, unless I'm around my friends. But cross country and track, when I'm with my teammates, is definitely when I have my most confidence.
So, we spoke about your resume, which is perfect. You went out and won all your cross country races, including all the big meets like the state preview at Academy. Of course, state was at Academy, district, metros, the Rancher Jamboree. These are among the biggest events. The only race that you had in the fall that you did not win was the Nike Cross Nationals in Portland, where you finished 6th. This was a couple of weeks after you finished first at the Southwest Regional in Phoenix. And I'm wondering, that whole experience, not necessarily winning state by 2 minutes, which you did, and we were all just so blown away watching you hit the finish line while the runner-up was still coming into the stadium. That was just an unbelievable sight, I think, for a lot of us who have been to state cross-country many times. But as we think about Phoenix and Portland, where the Nike Cross Nationals were, how different these competitions were for you? Look, I mean, it was clear the competition in New Mexico, you were clearly superior to all your rivals, whether they were local kids or kids from outside the metro area. The competitions you attend at Nike Cross Nationals, where you won, and in Portland Nationals, where you finished 6th, how different was the competition for you? And I don't know, how much more stimulated were you by the opportunity to compete against that next level of athlete?
I was definitely really excited to run in NXR and NXN. It's a really great opportunity to really race and get good times. And I mean, when I finished NXR, it was the most fun thing because my coach like picked me up and he was like throwing me up and down. And then NXN, where we got all of the fun gear from Nike and we got to all hang out with each other in the hotel and there's like the after party and whatever. It's just super fun, and I definitely get more nervous for those races, more adrenaline, but they're super fun.
So you finished 6th at Nationals, which was an amazing accomplishment. And as I was following from here, there were a lot of coaches keeping in touch with me saying, like, we've never had a girl, any girl, no matter what her grade was, whether it was 8th grade or senior, go out and perform that well on a national stage. What did you learn about yourself at both of those competitions? First, the regionals in Phoenix, which you won, and the Nike Cross Nationals, which you finished 6th at. What did you learn about yourself?
I learned that I can push a lot harder than I think I can sometimes. Because when you're running by yourself, it's hard to push because you don't need to because there's nobody coming up to pass you or pushing you. But when I was at NXR, it was a sprint to the finish because we were all so close to each other. And so I definitely learned that I really can push myself on a big stage like that. And I can go in and have a good chance to win a lot of races. Which
leads me to another question I hadn't thought to ask, but so frequently when you run here, you gradually pull away and get big leads. It's hard to do that when there's nobody really breathing down your neck, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Is it hard to keep pushing yourself in those types of environments too?
It's definitely hard to because, like I said, you don't need to because nobody's coming up to pass you, so it's really just me against the clock most of the time. And I think, personally, it's a lot more fun to race when people are pushing you. I know my sister sometimes likes the minute-and-a-half lead, but I think it's fun to race people.
And we're talking about your younger sister, Isla, who's
Yes.
actually sitting off camera here, who will be competing against you, but not for a couple of years. She's going into the 6th grade?
Yes.
So you'll be a junior by the time she's eligible to race. I'm wondering, are you looking forward to the day the two of you run together at the high school level?
Oh, yeah, I'm super excited. I love running with her, and I miss her very much. I think it's good sometimes to have some separation, but I definitely, my sister's definitely my best friend, and I'm very excited to run with her and compete against her.
Tell me about her as a runner.
She's a very good runner. Oh, yeah, she's super fast. She won nationals for USATF in Eugene, Oregon last year for the 3,000 and the 1,500.
Right.
And she's super humble about it, too. She's also an amazing soccer player, and she's a very, very joyful person.
Is she good enough to take you down someday?
I don't know.
One day I'll have to ask Isla. She's smiling over here. So listen, this is a story that you've told me a couple of times, but for the benefit of people who have not heard this story, the pink bandana, which is what identifies you at a race or at a track meet. Take me through and explain for people who have not heard this, how this bandana, which says "Run Like a Girl," it's a bright pink bandana. And I laughed the other day when I interviewed you here in the Journal office. I laughed. I'm like, you know what? This is the first time I've actually seen your actual hair color because I've never seen it because it's always been hidden behind the bandana. You run with a bright pink bandana that says "Run Like a Girl." It came from your grandmother. Could you tell the story?
So when I was like 7 and 8 running cross country for my club team, there was this girl who now runs for Volcano Vista who had a bright pink headband herself. And I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. I'm like, I need one of these. And so my grandma looked in line and she found one that said "Run Like a Girl." And now I've been wearing it ever since I got it.
Right, and this is mandatory. You will never hit the Have you ever even once thought about running without it?
No.
Just to try something different?
Oh, definitely not. I would never. I think the only time that I've run without it was at the Cleveland meet. It was super windy for track, and it fell off in the last 100 meters of my 800. I think that's the longest I've gone without wearing it in a meet.
Tell me what it means to you and to have it come from your grandmother. I even asked you where she got it. I would love to hear the story someday about where she found it and how it came to be. But what does it mean to you to wear that and how you identify with that saying, "Run like a girl"?
Yeah, it's my favorite thing that I own, definitely, and wear. And it means a lot to me to be wearing something that is as powerful as "Run Like a Girl." Because like I've said before, people will discredit girls for running, even if they're running as fast as they are. But me wearing the pink headband is like, yeah, I am running like a girl, and I'm very proud of it.
You set 3 state records at state track. Was that a goal?
No,
for you?
definitely not.
The 800. I can't remember which was. I think the 1600 was Friday, and then the 8 and the 32 were on Saturday, and you set the state record in all 3 events. Tell me about that. I mean, to do all 3 in the same meet for someone your age, you're 14. So, what did that mean to you?
It was super exciting. I thought maybe that I could do it for the 32 and the 16, but I definitely did not expect it for the 800. But I think even with breaking all the state records, I think the most fun memory of that was us all winning as a team, and all of the seniors were super excited, and everyone was getting all pumped up.
Yeah, and that led me into my next question. We've talked so much about your individual accomplishments, as we should, as all of us should, whether it's me as a print media member or the TV stations. Look, we've all spent a lot of time talking about how much you've accomplished, but one of the under the radar things that happened for you just mentioned, El Dorado was a co-state champion with Rio Rancho at state track. So for everything you accomplished individually, I'm wondering how sweet that was to be part of that team environment where you guys got to hold a blue trophy. I mean, it wasn't all individual for you. Sure, your running was a big part of that, but you got to be part of a team that won state your first track season. I am wondering how sweet that was for you and all your teammates.
It was super amazing. Like I said, the seniors were so excited. They were dancing around, making us all dance. And it was super fun to be able to share the win with the whole team and not just with myself or anything. And I'm really hoping that we can go out in this cross-country season and crush it like we did at states for track.
I should ask, I'm not even, since the high school year's over, I'm kind of checking out a little bit until we get to the fall. Are a lot of the girls coming back on this team for next season?
I think so. I think we definitely had a lot of seniors on our team, but I think most of the younger people will definitely come back.
Were you ever interested in other sports? You mentioned your sister plays soccer. For you as a kid, did you play volleyball or basketball or soccer, or did you have any interest in doing anything else?
I played softball for a little while, and it wasn't really necessarily my thing. And then COVID hit, and I was kind of looking for an excuse to get out of it. So I didn't really go back after COVID. I'm like, you know what? I'm good at running. I'll just stick to this.
So you've left middle school now, and you're going to be a high school student, probably 2 months from now. Maybe 9 weeks, the high school year will begin. You said you were excited to be done with middle school. What excites you about getting onto a high school campus? And I'm not even just talking about the athletic part, just being a high school student.
I'm excited for the new people that I'm going to get to meet and seeing people that I knew in elementary school and then went to Eisenhower and that I'll get to meet up with again. And I'm excited that I feel like we have a little bit more free range being in high school versus middle school. Honestly, one of the things I'm excited about is being able to eat outside in the courtyard and not in the stuffy cafeteria.
They don't have tables outside at Hoover?
We do,
where you
but
can just sit and have your lunch?
We're not allowed to because we make too much of a mess. So we got banned to the cafeteria.
You're still a kid. You're a teenager, so I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
As we think about, and this summer, and we're going to talk about that in a second, but you've set the bar really high for yourself. You went out and crushed it as an 8th grader, as a varsity athlete, like almost any of us have ever seen. I've been doing this job a long time, and I've never seen an athlete break onto the scene in any sport as an 8th grader and put up the type of results that you did. So having said that, we were talking about this. You've set the bar high for yourself. How do you continue to sustain that level of excellence? Is that something you even think about?
Yeah, I think I definitely get nervous about that sometimes, but I think if I keep working hard and have the same dedication that I did this year and the years prior to this, I think if I can continue that up, I think I can continue to grow and become faster. And I've said it before, but I have an amazing coach at El Dorado, and I've had amazing coaches at AAT that have helped me get this far. And so I think if I just lean into them, it'll help me get even faster.
And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
Okay.
It seems like such a combination of being naturally talented as a runner and the technical proficiency. And those of us who have watched you run, even for me who never ran, even when I was younger and thinner and an athlete myself, I always hated to run because I always found it so tedious. But we would watch you run. And something that was clear to me right from the start was, even though you're 5'4", you run with such a long stride, like someone who is 5'10", and you're covering the same amount of ground, but with fewer strides than your rivals. You know, you can anybody that watches cross country can see this. What you cover in 10 strides, your competitors take 15. So they're expending more energy during a 3200 or during a cross country final. But you have such an enormous stride. Where does that come from? And you were talking about that. You are kind of leggy, I guess, is the way you kind of explained it to me the other day.
Yeah, my mom has long legs, and I definitely get that from her. And I think it definitely helps me a lot, and I'm very grateful for my long legs.
Do you think of yourself as being a technically proficient runner?
I think so, yeah. I've worked a long time on making sure that my arms stay straight and I don't flat my arm, and that my legs are working the way that they should and keeping long strides, but it definitely is a lot of natural talent too.
So we're almost done. One moment, is there one moment from the fall or from the spring that stands out in your mind, something that you feel like is really deeply embedded into your being, that was a moment that was really satisfying to you?
I think when we won state as a team for track, I think that was super fun. Like I've said, everyone was super excited, and one of our coaches was like yelling and getting all excited, and then they were like, yeah, now we have to make rings. And so everyone was just super excited, and it was just super fun to be able to share that with everybody and not just with me.
Were your older teammates, the ones who actually attended El Dorado High School, were they very welcoming to you, even though you didn't spend any time with them during the school day? And you wouldn't see them until practice or competitions. Were they very welcoming to you?
Oh yeah, I could not have had a better team this year. They were so welcoming to me, and they were so kind, and they made me feel like I was part of the team instantly. And I have a friend that's going to be running with us next year as an 8th grader, and I'm super excited that this is the team that she's going to get to be on.
Yeah, that should be fun. So take me real quick through your plans for the summer. You've already told me you're going to be going to Seattle early next week. Talk about this competition. Now, unfortunately, we didn't see you, as this podcast will get published on Sunday morning. This is already past tense. You did not run at the Great Southwest this weekend, which sounds weird to say since it's only Thursday. And we'll certainly, and you were certainly missed, or will be missed. I guess it doesn't matter. You're going to Seattle. Tell me about this competition you're going to next week.
I'm really excited. I'm running in the junior race, so I'm excited because I'll be running against 8th graders who I'll run with until my senior year.
What is the name of the event?
I'm doing the mile.
No, sorry, the name of the meet.
Oh, the Brooks PR Invitational.
Okay. What attracted you to this particular meet?
Well, one, I got invited to it, so I was like, this is perfect. And my dad was trying to find one that was like pretty close to state so that I didn't have a super long season and I had a break between track and cross country. And I could have done the Hoka one, but I'm excited because I wear mostly Brooks shoes, and I'm hoping that I'll get a few Brooks shoes.
After you get back from Seattle, is it your intention to take a break for a while?
Yeah, I'm going to take like 2 weeks off, and then I'll start slowly but surely getting back into it. And then I think our preseason starts in like July, first week of July, I think. Yeah.
As a runner, can you even afford to take more time than that off? Or and if you do, is it a struggle to get your running form back?
No, it's definitely better to take a long break because running, I mean, any sport is hard, but running is especially hard on your body with all of the miles that we put in running every day. I mean, my legs are getting tired right now. Like, just thinking about the end is starting to sound pretty nice. But it's definitely super important to take breaks so that your muscles can rebuild and everything can completely be relaxed and rejuvenated before you start cross country.
Right. One of the fun things you told me during our interview the other day was I asked you if you had hobbies or interests outside of running, and you said you like to bake, and your dad was sitting with you, and he said you make a mean chocolate chip cookie. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
How much practice does it take to get the cookie right?
Well, I found a lot of recipes, and I found the recipe that I like the best, and then just add butterscotch chocolate chips or like white chocolate chips.
Yeah, we're here, so lay it on us. Okay, you found a recipe you like. What is it exactly?
So in second grade, we did this project where we all like a recipe that we make a lot at home, and we brought it to our class, and then we made a class cookbook. And one of the things that one of my classmates made was chocolate chip cookies, and so that's the ones that we make now are the ones that I learned in second grade.
So they're good.
Yes, they're very good.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. If you're as good at baking as you are at running, I'm sure they're really good. What do you have? And last question before I set you loose here, do you have aspirations to run? Not just at the next level, but I like thinking Olympic type aspirations. Have you even started thinking along those lines down the road when you're older?
I definitely want to run for college, but I don't want to run professional or anything after that. Really.
What do you want to do? Have you even thought about it?
I want to be an eating disorder therapist or nutritionist.
Why that?
Because it's something that I kind of struggled with over the cross-country season, and I found a lot of people who have really helped me and I've really been inspired by. And I think it's a struggle that a lot of athletes and just people go through, and it's something that I would really like to help other people with.
So you just said something. I feel like I need to follow up on this. You said you struggled with it a little bit. Could you, if you don't mind, explain that a little bit? What exactly was going on with you?
I think I just wasn't used to the amount of pressure that I had. And then all of a sudden, something that I used to love so much started turning into something that was a lot more pressured and something that I thought about a lot more. And I think it was just cross country was the time that I had the most confidence in myself. And having all the people watching me that I didn't usually have kind of took away the confidence in my one area.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you feel like this is something you hope to get a handle on, or you feel like you're already starting to address it?
I definitely have been getting a lot better from cross country to now, and it's something that so many athletes struggle with, and they don't even know is the problem. Like most teen girls that are running, they don't know that they're not eating enough until they're older and their bones start getting stress fractures and they start really hurting themselves. But by that point, it's too late to really fix it. And it's a really big struggle. And I'm glad that I went through it when I was younger, so my body can still my body is still resilient enough that it can come back from that and not be too injured. But I just wish people knew a lot more about it than they do.
Is it a matter of, just trying to keep yourself in fighting shape, running shape, and does that factor into this at all? You want to stay as trim and as lean as you can?
A little bit, and it's just, I think I just care a lot about what people think about me, and I was worried that if I ate more one day or another day that, people would think less of me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we wish you luck with that.
Thank you.
Anyway, we thank you so much for coming in to sit down for this podcast. I've been wanting to have you here literally the whole school year, but this was a good time to do it. We congratulate you on being our female prep athlete of the year. You went out and as I said, you crushed it, and it's very well deserved.
Thank you very much.
I congratulate you, and I thank you for all your time. Starting, the first time I met you at Cleveland on that Saturday morning, to the end of the state meet and here today. So. This is Gianna Rahmer. She is going to be a freshman at El Dorado. I know she's super excited about that. And it'll be fun. Honestly, as a reporter, we had to refer to you as the 8th grader from Hoover Middle School just to explain to people. I'll be excited not to do that anymore. Just say El Dorado freshman Gianna Rahmer. That will be nice as a reporter. So we congratulate Gianna. Cam Dyer from La Cueva is our male athlete of the year. I did a podcast with Cam yesterday, Tuesday. All this, as you're seeing me, is available on abqjournal.com, on YouTube as well. Separate podcast with Cam and Gianna to go with my stories on them as our athletes of the year. We had a fun photo shoot earlier in the week here at the Journal campus, and we think the main photo of Cam and Gianna turned out really well. You haven't seen it yet. As we talk, you'll probably have seen it by the time we talk here, but you're going to love it. So
I'm super excited to see it.
Yeah, so congratulations. We will look forward to seeing you again in August, probably at Cleveland, the opening race. So thank you again for your time, Gianna Rahmer.
Education and training at Western New Mexico University is accessible from every corner of the land of enchantment, providing limitless opportunities towards success for more than a century. And now, through the New Mexico Opportunity Scholarship, tuition and fees are covered for anyone looking to start or start over. Along with free tuition, books are always included for every WNMU student. Assuring your only worry is how far you can actually go. Lift off toward your future and endless potential at WNMU today.
So this will be it for me. Not sure when my next podcast will drop. It might be when we get into football mid-August as we start thinking about the next season. We're going to kind of rebrand the podcast a little bit, and we're going to make some changes and upgrades for this next school year. Anyway, thank you for watching. As always, we encourage you to read, hear, watch everything we're doing. Jeff Grammer's podcast on Lobo basketball, Sean Ryder's podcast on Lobo football. We have the best sports staff in the state. The amount of knowledge and experience we have in the room is unmatched by anybody. And of course, we're always committed to giving everyone the best coverage we can. For me, that's high schools. And it was fun to watch Gianna compete, something we would not have been able to experience even 3 years ago. So that was a fun thing. Anyway, take care, everyone, and we will see you down the road. Thanks for watching.